Hello everybody, welcome to the show. It's Astrology and Magic. My name is Valkyria Verder. It is Valkyrie of the Veil. That's like the more easy English translation or version of the name. Today we are here to look at the week ahead with astrology. It is November 28th through December 6th. That's the time frame we're looking at. We actually have kind of a lot going on this week. A lot going on this week, a lot going on at the beginning of next week, starting the 7th and the 8th, and then the rest of December is kind of just easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's going to be a little bit smoother sailing, so we may look at some bigger picture stuff later on in December because of that. However, we do still have a moon, and it does change every couple of days, so we'll go over that too. We do have a new moon coming up, so that's going to be kind of one of the bigger focuses at the beginning of the week this week. And then later in the week, we have some other transits that are not necessarily moon related, but they're still going to be important. So before we get into all of the details of the show, welcome in. If you are looking for updates on the blog, I send out the podcast when it does go out on the blog. There's also other articles and things that I write over there. So for those of you who are exclusive subs over on the blog, I will have the new moon analyzing, or like the in-depth going over of that chart. That's going to come out here very shortly. And then also my like ancestral blood work, magic work that has to do with roots, more of like the quote unquote adult magic practice. I have it written up, I just haven't sent it out to the exclusive subs yet. I'm readjusting to my schedule now that I'm taking on sessions again, so I'm probably going to do a 2-for-1 with the new moon and that blog post for the exclusive subs over there. There is a free version of that blog if you're interested. My session's being open again. All of December is booked out, so if you're looking to get on the books for January, they are open. Let me go and double check and see kind of like what that is looking like right now. I'm taking a couple weeks off the end of December, early January, and then that second week of January, so January 6th, that's a Monday. That week's already full too. So if you're interested in bookings, there's still 3 more weeks of bookings available in January. I'm kind of surprised. I'm like kind of surprised and not surprised at the same time. It's both. It's just very strange. My books have never filled up this fast. So done with the past, I guess. New era ahead of us. Thanks so much for the support. We're gonna keep it moving, keep it pushing, and there's a cushion. You know what? Maybe I don't need to put that in there. That's like usually not a very appropriate joke. I didn't mean it like that, but regardless of that, let's get into the show. Oh my goodness. If that is what this whole entire show today is gonna be like, okay, well, you know what? Let's just see where it takes us. So starting November 28th to the 30th, we have the Balsamic moon in Scorpio. This Balsamic moon, this whole moon cycle, this is the first time that we have had a new moon and a full moon. So new moon in Scorpio happened November 1st. We had a full moon in Taurus during this month as well. This is the first of that sort of cycle that has not been connected to the eclipses for several years now. Scorpio with the South Node was really harsh for a lot of people, especially it being closer to the end of Pluto being in Capricorn. It was just like very much power grab, stand in your power, or really kind of get knocked over. So it was not the most fun couple of years for a lot of people. And we're kind of in the recovery mode of that at this moment. So this moon cycle really finalizes the closing of those previous years. And the Balsamic moon specifically is going to be grounding the work that we have done during this previous month and this previous moon cycle to close the door on those different happenings and different workings. So thankfully, we're done. We're done. I don't know about you, but I know about me, and this month has been more serious than I am even able to share with you. It's been ridiculous, dude. It's been ridiculous. There's been a crazy amount of just like so serious pieces of information. It's just been such a serious month. It's been a serious time. It's been a serious cycle. So we're done with that. We're done. We're also about to come out of the underworld. So this is kind of like if you can imagine being right next to the door. We're right next to a door. We're right next to the surface of the water. We're right next to the next level, the next layer. You know how if you stand outside of a door, you can kind of, if there's people behind it or there's noise or music or something, you can kind of get a handle or a feeling for what's going on. We kind of already have that. It's a little bit revealing of what this next moon cycle is going to be like. We're also already in Sagittarius season, and that's our next new moon. So we have a little bit of an understanding of kind of what to expect or where we're going. Take some time to rest, digest, and process over the 28th to the 30th during this balsamic moon. We have a lot to ground. Okay, so take your time, be patient with yourself. The balsamic moon is meant to be a time more of rest and not to be stressed and understanding. It is when the whole entire cycle comes to ground, so take your time with it. It doesn't need to be rushed, doesn't need to be hushed, just needs to be, but ground it, because you don't want to leave it floating around. If you ground it, then you're able to move on into the next cycle and you won't have to drag anything with you. So take the time to ground it. That's good. And moving on through November 30th, we have the start of the Sagittarius moon. Now, the new moon doesn't start until the moon and the sun are conjunct, but you'll start to get a feeling for it on the 30th of what the moon might feel like, kind of what to expect. And then December 1st, it's December 1st at 6:21 a.m. UTC, so the universal time there. So translate to your time zone as necessary, because it's crazy to me that people support me from like almost every time zone in the world. Maybe not every single one, but there's a lot. There's a lot. I definitely assumed there. There's definitely a lot of people who support me from a lot of different time zones. So translate as needed. And also, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, translate as needed. That new moon in Sagittarius, we made it. We made it. Oh my goodness, the joy that I have for this. We made it. We're not in the underworld anymore. Even as a Scorpio, I'm super happy about this. I'm really grateful that we get to leave the underworld. Oh, Pluto and Capricorn, I feel like the end of it was just like choking us. That's how I feel. I feel like it just had me, I don't know, I can't speak for you, but I'm gonna speak for myself. It literally had me in a chokehold. It was like a grip, and it just didn't want to slip. It didn't want to let go. It didn't want to. And I was like, listen, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait it out. I might not be stronger than Pluto. I might not be stronger than Capricorn, but this transit specifically has forged me. So I'm going to sit in it and I'll let it grip me. I'll let it, not breathe so much. I really did actually get sick during this season, so this is kind of actually literally physically applicable, but it had a little bit of a death grip. Yeah, this is Scorpio with the death energy. A little bit of a death grip on us, and we're done. We're done. We get to come out of the underworld, and we get to move back into the Sagittarius energy, the dreaming. Things are picking up again. We're moving around again. We're coming back up into the air. One of the other things to kind of note with Sagittarius energy is that it is the archer, and we're shooting into the systems. That's the next one, is Capricorn. So we're making the aim so that we can go and shapeshift throughout time to land at a targeted position. So if you're putting together the different seasons and the different moon cycles, the Sagittarius energy, we're the archer, we're making the aims, we are expanding. That's going to be Jupiter. We're going through those expansions because we need to be able to make our aims and hit our targets. And then during Capricorn season, we have the recognition of where within the hierarchies we have landed and what sort of shape-shifting has that expansion asked us to do. So if you are shooting your shots, you're making your aims, and you're kind of restructuring and retargeting and reclaiming, regaming, re-aiming during these Sagittarius times. Sagittarius season has started. That was in the previous episode of the podcast. But this one, Sagittarius season, with it being started, we have the new moon. So now we have both the moon and the sun working together finally with Sagittarius energy. Love you, Sagittarius. I love the archer. So having that further inspection, kind of some general understandings. This is a good time within our seasonal work, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's like we've reaped the harvest. We're still kind of going into the darkness. We're headed towards that solstice still. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it'll be the solstice, the brighter solstice. So we're headed to some kind of culmination, some kind of illumination. There's going to be a turning point when Capricorn season starts, and we'll still be in the moon cycle that is starting on December 1st when that happens. So the aims that we are making with this new moon and the intentions of this new moon are going to carry us into the work that is done and started in Capricorn season. And we don't have Pluto in Capricorn anymore. I know I just laughed about it, and I'm gonna bring it up again. I feel like I'm gonna be doing a happy little dance for a while. I'm so tired, and I'm so grateful that we have moved on. We're still in Sirius energy. Pluto, Saturn are still together, but right now, let's rejoice, okay? I'm happy about it. So we're making those aims during this moon cycle because this is the first time in 17 years. It's been since 2007, I'm pretty sure. I did the math the other day. I looked it up. I'm pretty sure it's 2007. First time since 2007 that we have had a Capricorn season with no Pluto in it. Okay. Yeah, perspective. So with the shots and the aiming and the claiming within your targets and your expansion and what do you want, where are you going, what are you looking to go after, the targets that we make with this moon cycle for the first time in a long time, where we land in Capricorn season is not going to be connected to the underworld. You understand how incredibly powerful it is that the hierarchies of the world that are no longer tied to that underworld space, and we just get to have them be free of it. It's going to be such a gift. I'm so grateful. So grateful. I do not hate Pluto and Capricorn. Absolutely not. It was a beautiful transit. It was necessary and needed for all of us for different reasons. And also, I feel like I'm getting real close and whispering. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, okay? We finally get to breathe again, especially for people who have Capricorn placements, Capricorn stelliums, heavy Saturn in their chart, heavy Scorpio too, heavy Saturn, heavy Scorpio. We're done. So this moon cycle, we're starting the new. This moon cycle starts the new. We're ushering in the new. We're beginning the new. It's going to feel a little fresh. It's going to feel a little different. It's going to feel a little like, oh, maybe it's not as hard anymore. There is going to be the aspect over this moon cycle and headed into Capricorn season where we're kind of seeing, why did our seasons change? Who did we become? What rearranged? So just kind of expect the transformational process throughout Sagittarius and Capricorn season that this moon cycle is ushering in. Kind of expect it to lift us a little bit. And when we're lifted, there may be some things our heart needs to let go of. It is the moon, so just be prepared for any of that sort of work. Pluto and Capricorn, it was a hard transit. Loss is a hard thing. Pluto is, with death, that's part of Pluto. It's part of Scorpio. So if you're processing any of the deaths or any of the losses, take your time with it. Allow yourself. That's part of this kind of like re-aiming that we're doing right now with Jupiter and Sagittarius on this new moon, is having those re-aims and restructures and retargeting so that we're able to lift ourselves out of the loss. And that means we have to kind of process it at the same time. When we take our steps forward, we'll be able to have more perspective and look back. So our losses might look a little bit different. Loss is a hard road to cross. So just give your time to understand how hard that road of loss did cross. Because come Aquarius season, we're moving on. But this new moon is going to affect both Sagittarius and Capricorn season. So just a little bit of insight on that and kind of what to expect as we move forward, so that setting those intentions can be a little bit easier. Or doing your moon work on that day can be a little bit easier. That's true. And like I said too, there's a full breakdown that's going out for the exclusive subs of aspects and different things to work with on that new moon. But that's kind of the general understanding of it and kind of what to work with. Definitely check out 9th house, Sagittarius, and Jupiter stuff in your chart. That's what is going to be involved with and affected by that new moon. So if you're looking to harness any of that energy, this is also the season of luck. Jupiter's Jupiter is pretty lucky. So whatever shots you're making right now are going to expand throughout the whole entire next year. And then come Sagittarius season next year, they'll land again and we start it over. So another thing to keep in mind, kind of like long term. That is true. That is true. I also think this is going to be kind of an interesting moon. The new moon, it's ruled by a Jupiter retrograde, and that Jupiter retrograde is ruled by a Mercury retrograde, and they're in opposition to each other, and they're having this really big conversation. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of looking back. It's a lot. That Jupiter retrograde and Mercury retrograde together. It's a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on with that. One of the things to understand about retrogrades for this new moon, okay, specifically the way that this is structured, retrogrades, they bind us to come back to whatever's happening in retrograde. So if you are putting intentions down, you're making your aims, you're restructuring those aims, you're re-strategizing those aims, you're looking for different expansions in those aims, and you're allowing yourself to play new games and make new claims and look into the future and dream again. Sagittarius is a dreamer, and to dream again. If you're doing that, understand that any of those targets or how you're shooting those shots right now, the work that you do on this new moon, we're bound to return to it. Retrogrades bind us and kind of force us to return to them at some point in the future when the planet is direct. It could be before the next retrograde. It could be it's Jupiter. So it could be years from now. It could be multiple different Jupiter retrogrades into the future. You look back to this new moon and you're like, holy cow, I didn't even realize. Jupiter sometimes is a little bit sneaky like that. It's a little bit sneaky like that. So it could be something that's a little bit longer term because of that. So just be mindful and use your discernment. You could be very intentional. You're going to know how you work with that energy better than I do on, a specific like individual level. But another thing to kind of keep in mind, I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how our future works with this new moon. Because we've had a lot of like returning, how do I say this? Since it's two retrogrades, a Mercury retrograde and a Jupiter retrograde, I don't want to say that they cancel each other out because they don't do that, but it's like we're looking back and we're not really though. We're looking back, but we're not really though. It's like if you're ready to let go and you're ready to move on, then this is just like a really big springboard. The fact that those are in opposition, they're ruling over each other, and they're both retrograde at the same time. It is like taking shots blindfolded, though. So really rely on your skills that you already have. Rely on shooting at targets that are already kind of familiar. Like you're going to have to do things that look like previous situations where you've taken shots or made aims, because you are kind of shooting blind into the future. And when we're blind, be kind, that's true. But yeah, it's a blinder. There's a blinder on it for a reason. You may not understand, you're not going to understand the full impact or capacity of it until you make it to the target. There's also going to be one of the things about Sagittarius energy that's been coming through collectively for this year is that make sure, and I think I said this in the previous episode, make sure you're setting up short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. And something I may not have said in the previous episode, but I'm going to bring it up now, be willing to re-aim those mid-term and long-term goals based upon how and if you can make the mark on those short-term targets. So that's going to be kind of a bigger picture that we're getting right now with the Jupiter and the Mercury retrograde and it ruling over that new moon, especially because moon magic can be kind of shifty. We can't always see it. Sometimes that's blinding too. So just be prepared to kind of not give up your hopes and dreams, but the pathway or the way that you're making it to that target might be very different than what you're expecting it to be. And just kind of work with the short-term targets, hitting those marks, and then shifting your long-term and mid-term targets based on the short-term. It's going to be a lot of kind of like analytics and analysis, self-analysis of that in the future. So there's another good kind of like tool of navigation or portion of that energy as well. Moving into December 2nd through the 4th, we have the moon in Capricorn, and it's going to be with Venus. Now, Venus in Capricorn has been pretty interesting. We're refining why we're receiving things, why we're offering things. We're not in the energy of drought yet. We do have a Venus retrograde next year, and Venus retrogrades are associated with drought or considered a time where drought could be a thing. But Capricorn energy is just so serious. Capricorn energy is just so serious. I did just yell. Capricorn energy is just so serious. And so it's like this huge feminine refinement of, I'm not receiving this stuff anymore. I'm not offering this stuff anymore. And if you're going to offer it or receive it, then it's very, very detailed and it's very, very intentional, because Venus in Capricorn asks that we understand not only the intention, but our intention and how is it bound to our impact. And because Saturn right now is in Pisces, oh my goodness, I had to think about it. Because Saturn right now is in Pisces, ruling over that Capricorn space, it's spiritual refinement on a detailed level of giving and receiving. Talk about a mind bender, dude. Talk about, I gotta think about this on a spiritual level and relate it to the physical world, and I gotta do that on a consistent basis and make sure that there's boundaries. It's a lot, okay? Interesting, has been protective for myself. I don't know how you've been experiencing it, but it's been protective for me, just relationship-wise, and realizing, you know, a little bit more of the details of my worth, because that's also Venus related. So hopefully that's been a thing for you too, what you are worth, how to move in that worth, and how to keep boundaries around that worth. Beautiful, love that. And with the moon here, we are going to be really detailed with your weavings. This is a time too, because Saturn is in Pisces, be really, really intentional with the time that you're spending and how are you interacting with your time while the moon is in Capricorn. This is also a time, so detailed weavings, reserving of the energy, and just be really intentional, because Saturn, one of the things that came through in that Pluto collective reading, the Pluto moving into Aquarius collective reading that I did, it was like the day before Pluto went into Aquarius. It's on my YouTube channel if anybody's interested in it or curious about it. But one of the things that came through in that reading is that Saturn is watching over us and taking notes about how we're spending our time. What are you doing with your time? What are you working with in your time? How are you spending your time? How are you participating in your time, and like what are you working with and weaving through your time? It's like making notes. It's just paying attention. We're not only with Capricorn Saturn anymore. We're not only with Saturn and Pluto anymore. We also have Uranus, and Uranus is the parent of Saturn. Saturn is already so fatherly. And now we have the dad of the dad figure in astrology, the granddad. Okay, so Saturn's taking notes because Saturn needs help to become a better teacher. So Saturn's going to go to Uranus. This is metaphorically, okay? Saturn's going to go to Uranus and start to understand, you know, a little bit more. The dad gets to learn from the dad now. The dad gets to learn from the grandfather. So it's going to be more serious lessons, maybe some bigger lessons, and it'll be different kinds of wisdom because of that, but just be very mindful about how you are working with your time with that moon in Capricorn, especially because of the Jupiter retrograde and the Mercury retrograde that are ruling over that new moon that's happening on December 1st. Again, we're bound to come back to that new moon, so how you're activating it in the moon after that moon in Capricorn, that's going to be really important. It's going to say a lot about how the rest of the cycle is going to go and how the rest of your time during this cycle and kind of throughout the next year will be moving and working for you. So just keep it on lock if you need to. Be serious with yourself during that moon. It's a big time of seriousness. There's a lot of people who are tired right now. I'm tired too, you guys. I'm tired too. I am too. I'm tired too. It's one of the most consistent comments that I get on my TikTok, and it's one of the most consistent things. It's like it does not matter. It does not matter the topic of conversation. It doesn't matter what we're talking about or what the video is about that I'm posting. The people are tired right now. People are tired right now, okay? The world is serious. Things are hard out there. People are tired right now. People are tired right now. And the transits that are happening are asking us to be so serious about our lives and so serious about our spiritual practices and so serious and so serious and so serious and so serious and so serious. Well, even the other day I was like, can I even afford to take a nap right now? Can I have this extra sleep right now? Like, can I do it? And I was like, well, if I do that, I'll be taking care of myself, but I'll also be sacrificing getting some of my internet work done that I need to do. And I'm tired too. I'm tired too. And I haven't really recognized that on a collective level yet. I talk about it in my comments on my platform on TikTok every once in a while when people like bring it up, which is, again, basically every video right now. I'm tired too. So if you're feeling tired, do what you can do for yourself. We're human, okay? We're meant to be tired. Things are meant to be messy sometimes. We only have so much time here on this earth. We only have so much time to dedicate to certain things. It's just... It is. So if you're feeling a little tired, there's like an alleviation with Pluto moving into Aquarius. That's true. Hopefully Capricorn season brings more alleviation, but I just wanted to have a moment of humanness, human to human. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to be tired. If you're tired and you're inspired and you're having to navigate being tired and also being inspired of like, there's these things you want to do, but also there's all this, like, you've just been putting so much out and putting so much out, so much output, so much creation. You have to rest. It's all right. It's like, just do the best that you can do. You know what you need to do. You know what you need to do. Don't let other people trick you. Don't let other people speak it over you. You know what you need to do. You know what you need to do. So keep doing what you need to do in that. And if that's sleep, go sleep. If that's make time for rest, make time for rest. That's true. That's true. Okay. So Moon in Capricorn, be serious with yourself and take care of yourself during that time period for sure. December 5th through the 6th, we have the moon in words, oh my gosh. We have the moon in Aquarius, and that's going to be with Pluto. This is going to be the first moon that we have in Pluto with Aquarius. I am looking forward to it, and I'm also a little bit like, ooh, what's going to happen? Am I ready for it? Can I ever be ready for it? I don't know. Uranus is like the unpredictability. It's the chaos. It's the order that comes before. It's the things that we don't understand until they happen again. It is the chaos and unpredictability. And so that's the reason I'm kind of like, ooh, am I ready? We're going to find out during this moon, kind of a preview or a prequel of some of the stuff that is to come up, to be honest with you. If Sagittarius, if that new moon shoots us into Capricorn season's new moon is going to carry us into Aquarius season. So the moons help us transition into those sun spaces. And with the way that this is going to happen, this moon in Aquarius... this moon in Aquarius is gonna give you kind of a preview of like, are you gonna be able to handle it? Not are you gonna be able to handle it. That's kind of a harsh way to say that. It's gonna show you what are you expecting, okay? What are you expecting? Because Aquarius it's unpredictable a lot of the times. We don't know when the rain is gonna show up. We know when a storm's going to come. You can feel it in the air, but you can't predict months ahead if a storm is going to be there. We don't have that super advanced technology. We know the seasons. Okay, this is a season of rain for sure. We can know a couple hours before, a day before. We can look at the signs of nature and be like, oh, there's a storm on the way, you know? But we don't know for certain, for sure. Except for with our radars, and even then things change sometimes, you know, our weather radars, sometimes things change and we don't know. The storm slows down, the storm speeds up. We don't know if there's tornadoes or there's other like random anomaly nature things that are happening. We don't know when those are going to happen. They just happen. They just happen. They just go. They just exist. They live and then they leave, and they offer to us what they have offered to us. And this moon that's happening in Aquarius, it's going to show us, what are you expecting with this unpredictability? What are you expecting? And it's not just, what are you expecting? What are you expecting? It's going to show you what you're expecting. What are you expecting? What are you expecting? And how are you directing? It's both of them together. Because what are you expecting? That will change your reaction. And this is one of the like big notes that I put. I put little asterisks or like the star things by it for this moon. your response to the chaos is what is going to be binding the fates while Pluto is in Aquarius. So let's talk a little bit about that. Pluto itself is a planet of binding, okay? It's a planet that helps us to bind. It has to do with our reproductive health, how we share those reproductive organs with other people, possibly. It also has to do with exchanges, like business exchanges. It has to do with taxes. It has to do with those small incremental things that sometimes people don't think about but are involved in the transactions, or could be like the contracts and like the sub-clauses to contracts, the loopholes, things like that, okay? That's going to be very Pluto-oriented, and to be able to have that sort of power, there has to be things that are bound. And so if we're looking at the way that our crossings are bound, how we cross other people, how are those exchanges happening? That's what I mean by the fates in the human essence of it, because fate is its own being, much larger than you, me, or anybody, to be honest with you. Fate is a big old being. Thank you, fate. Love you, fate. So grateful for you, fate. That's true. So if you're working in those crossings energies, so you're crossing another person, there's an exchange. You're crossing another person, there's an exchange. You're crossing that sort of thing. The way that we are binding up those sorts of crossings during Pluto and Aquarius, there's going to be a natural event, an animal, or it could be something unpredictable, okay? Human related, but unpredictable. If there's anything animalistic, this is kind of the three areas to look at, to be honest. Animalistic, nature oriented, or chaos, unexplainable order. Those three spaces. If anything in those three spaces happens over December 5th through the 6th while the moon is in Aquarius, your reaction, it is how you respond to that unpredictability, how you respond to that nature, how you respond to the animal life, how you respond to that is going to be what binds your future fate. Because those natural orders, those chaotic moments that are unexplainable, those are going to be repeated again sometime in the future. There's the tool. There's the tool for Pluto and Aquarius and how the bindings are going to work, at least for now. There's an offering of a tool that I give to you. Pay attention to the crossings. If you notice in your response that you don't like something that you responded with, or maybe it was like a knee-jerk reaction, and you note to yourself like this, because I don't want this to bring fear to people. We have will, we can change things. So if something like that chaos happens and you realize, oh, I don't actually like the way that I responded to that. I don't really like the way that I did that. I don't agree with that. You sit and think about it or feel through it a little bit more. I don't really like the way that happened. If you can look at it symbolically, literally, however you need to, look at the order, look at the pattern of that chaotic happening and how you responded to it, just make a note to yourself, because in the repetition, if it comes up again in the future and you're able to clock it and say, hey, I remember that time that I went through that chaotic thing, and I'm reminded of that right now with what I'm going through. And hey, I remember I didn't like the way I responded then. So let me sit and think about it. Let me understand a little bit more in this moment, that future moment, about how can I respond right now so that I have a healthier relationship with this chaos? How can I have a healthier relationship with what's going on? So there's always an opportunity to change things. You have to be more in the awareness aspect of it to be able to be more interactive. So there's kind of another lens, because dude, feeling out of control, ooh, hello, that's a little triggering sometimes. So I don't want to really bring that into the space. You do have will, you can make change. I can't control the animals. We can't control the animals. I can't control the storms. We can't control the storms. Things like that, you know, we can't control the unpredictability, but we can control how we respond to it. So paying attention to that while the moon is in Aquarius is going to be important, because this is going to be kind of our first look at what's happened, what's going on with Pluto and Aquarius. This is our first planetary object that is transiting Pluto and Aquarius space with Pluto and Aquarius since it's gone into Aquarius not that long ago. not that long ago. It was like, what, a week ago? Pretty much. It was a little over a week ago. So is our first planetary object moving in. So just have the awareness, okay? Also, you could look at the chaos that's happening. How does that tie into your new moon work, your new moon intentions? You're probably not going to be able to explain it right away, but more than likely later on in the moon cycle, you'll be able to explain it to yourself. That will also help you understand on a personal level, how is that chaos interacting with you? Because for every person, it's probably going to be a little bit different. We all have different astrology charts. We all have different birth charts, and we all have different personalities, and we all have different morals, and we all have different ethics, and we all come from different people. So just on that level, we're very different as humans, and that's supposed to be a thing. So it's probably going to interact with you a little bit differently. Also, everybody works different kinds of magic. Hello. Hello. So if you're working a different sort of magic than somebody else, the chaos might interact with you a little bit differently as well. So just some navigation tools, all right? Because we are all kind of a fool right now at the beginning of this Pluto in Aquarius. The Fool card, 16 years has ended and we're starting another 18-year cycle. All right, cool. Sign me up, apparently. Here we go. So that's December 5th through the 6th. We do have, so those are going to be the moon cycle notes for the week. December 5th, these are going to be, December 5th and 6th, we have stuff going on that isn't necessarily moon cycle related. December 5th, we have a Mercury retrograde. It's going to be Cazimi or conjunct. Cazimi means at the heart of the sun. So it's a conjunction that is going to be directly at the center of the sun. But it's also like just a conjunction. If you don't want to put the fancy word of Cazimi on it, it's just a conjunction. So Mercury retrograde is going to be conjunct or Cazimi, the sun in Sagittarius. Oh goodness. With the weird aspect, did I call it weird? I did just call it weird, and not me talking about fate earlier. I have a feeling something really big fated is about to happen. I don't know if it's going to be only for me or if it's going to be for a lot of people. I think it's going to be for a lot of people, to be honest with you, because I work in so much collective energy. Very rarely does something happen to me and it doesn't happen to anybody else. We're all humans on this earth. We go together for a reason, you know? So, but I just have a feeling something really, I don't know what it is. I also don't want to say that to freak you out. I feel very grounded in it. I feel very like, pregnant. I feel pregnant. I feel pregnant. I feel pregnant. I feel pregnant. I've been nesting. I've been nesting. I've been getting my home together. I got a new chair. I got a cute little new light. You can't really see in the background, but I'm gonna move to the side. I got a tree. Okay, I got a Christmas tree. This is the first time in my adult life I've had a Christmas tree. I love Christmas. Finally, I got a Christmas tree. I've been nesting. There's some other things I've been doing for myself too. I've been nesting, resting. I've had to sleep so much recently, and I feel like there is a birth about to be. Ooh, 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 where? Ooh, 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 who, what, where, when, why, how? I want to know. So I don't feel stressed about it. It's like, I'm ready. The nursery is together and I'm very ready, but you can't control when that happens. And I feel like that there's something about to ground for a lot of people around, especially people who have been working in that sort of nesting, resting, digesting energy. All right. I don't even know how I got on that topic. We were talking about the Mercury retrograde, and oh my goodness, let me get back on track then. Mercury retrograde at Cazimi and conjunct the sun in Sagittarius. Yeah, okay, resting, nesting, digesting. Because of the way that Mercury retrograde is aspecting Jupiter retrograde right now, they're ruling over each other, and they ruled over the new moon that happened December 1st. This is going to bring so much illumination. Plus, this is happening while the moon is in Aquarius. Get ready to have probably your mind blown a little bit, to be honest. Mercury is about the information. Jupiter is in Gemini, which is about the information. It's like the intellectual sharing of information, scholarly sharing of information. So there's probably going to be a lot of like random aha, holy cow, oh wow moments. You could also get little seeds on this day of, I need to go read about this, or I need to go study this, or I need to integrate this. I need to sit down and learn about this. If you are doing that, it's for a bigger purpose and for a bigger reason. Again, right now, with the way that Jupiter and Mercury are aspecting each other and both being retrograde, we have the blinders on a little bit with what those seeds are going to grow into. That's just what it is. You don't know what the life is going to be till it's born. You don't know what the seed's going to grow into until you plant it and you nurture it and you grow it. So if you're having those seeds come up, let yourself understand Sometimes if we have seeds that arrive during a Jupiter retrograde, we kind of have to pluck them out. We might start growing it and realize, it's not for me. I'm good with this. Thank you, though. Sometimes we receive them and we kind of have to give them some extra nurture at the beginning, but then because we receive them in a Jupiter retrograde, they're bound up and a little bit more protected than if we receive them in a Jupiter direct. So something else to think about within that as well. Interesting, curious, yes. This is not going to be probably a day of stress. This is going to be a day of illumination, lots of great things going on. This is also a time, because Mars goes retrograde the next day in Leo, okay? So people are getting really truthful and honest, and they're not doing it on purpose. People are not doing it on purpose, but people are going to get really truthful and honest with you. And I don't mean sharing secrets with you. That's Pluto, that's Scorpio. This is Jupiter and Gemini and Sagittarius and Mercury. It's different. It's different. It's different. It's different. It's different. It's different than sharing secrets. How can someone tell you who they are without sharing secrets with you? They show you who they are. Okay. It's very, how do I say that and not say that at the same time? There's a word I want to say, but it's not what I want to bring into the space. There could be some rudeness from people, okay? If you're understanding how other people are playing their games right now, it's probably not going to be for your benefit. So there's that. Mars retrogrades can bring about enemies. They also have to do with allyship, relationships. It's also Mars is it's war campaigns, okay? It's battle, it's war front, it's victory, it's strategy. And Mars retrograde is partially symbolic of when those war campaigns are over, people are coming home to heal, to rest, to go to harvest, okay? The war campaigns would end around the time that harvest was due because they needed help harvesting the fields. So, and like going through and getting ready for wintertime and things like that. So Mars retrograde, it's a retreat. You're going back, you're going home. And because it's in Leo, we're retreating into the self. And because it's in Leo also, and people are retreating into the self, people are going to be showing up and showing out as who they truly are. With a Mercury retrograde, ruling over a Jupiter retrograde, that's ruling over that Mercury retrograde, there's going to be some people who let a lot of things slip. There's gonna be a lot of people who let a lot of things slip out of their lips. It's not gonna be secrets. It's just gonna be, oops, I didn't mean to say that. So let the truth be revealed, okay? Might be truths from you. You might need to have your truths come through too. Maybe not necessarily in the aspect of talking to other people. Maybe it's truths that you need to see about yourself. Again, part of this energy of Jupiter retrograde and Mercury retrograde is that we're blind. It's a blinded of the future. We can't see all the clear directions of what these shots are going to do for us and the expansions are going to go through for us. So let your lip slip if you need to. Let the lip grip slip just a little bit so that you can reveal the truths that you need to you. It's not so much the secrets. It's more about truth being revealed. Put up a shield if you need to. This is a time to not take things personally, but understand also that everything is personal. They're both true at the same time. I'll say it again. This is a time to not take things personally. And remember, at the same time, everything is personal. Okay, both are true. Both are true. Do what you need to do with that. And correct yourself if needed. If not, then just observe, okay? And order and structure how you need to. All right. Mars retrograde also, it can be a time where our enemies are revealed to us. It can be a time where we realize how our priorities are not being prioritized. It's a time of rest. It's a time of healing. It's also a time of revealing. It's a time of revealing. It's a time of revealing. And because Leo right now Leo's ruled by the sun is in Sagittarius, right? So that's where the crossover of people might let some things slip. That's really like how this is happening, is because Leo's ruled by the sun and we have the sun of Sagittarius. It's going to be conjunct with the Mercury retrograde, ruled by a Jupiter retrograde. This Mars is I love Mars, and if you don't, it's not just don't need to go out, just mind your business. I don't know how else to say it. Just mind your business. Mind your business. Don't put yourself in situations you don't need to be in during this couple of days, December 5th and 6th. Because we also, this is not included in today's episode, but we also have a really large conjunction happening on December 7th, or there's just a lot happening on December 7th. Venus is going to be conjunct Pluto in Aquarius, and then we also have Neptune turning around and going direct. So I'll get more into the aspects and the actual like astrology stuff of Venus and Pluto, and then also Neptune going direct in the next episode. It's kind of a weird date of crossover, but necessary, I think. Let us digest this first portion, and we'll get into the second part in about a week or so. That December 5th and December 6th, it's like, let's picture this together, okay? If you are at a bar or an ale house, or you're at a place where people come together to commune together, okay? Not always party energy, but there's like the sharing of a communion, right? You're sharing some form of spirit. There's a spirit in the air. You're there for a similar purpose and a similar reason, all right? And there's someone new who walks in the bar, someone who feels bold in themselves, someone who maybe not that old. There's like the energy of immaturity to this as well. Like the immaturity might get people in trouble during this time. So there's the energy of immaturity. It's like, it's also a lot of aggression. There's a lot of aggression involved. So it's like if there's someone across the bar, okay, across the room in this ale house scenario, someone across this gathering space, someone across the room is laughing really loudly and showing off a little bit, okay, and somebody else across the room from them is like just eyeing them, is angry about it, is like upset with their joy and is upset with how they are, and then kind of puts a target on them because of that, all right? At that point, it's kind of like, say something stupid. Say, I dare you to say something stupid. Say something stupid. And it's very, like, people want to fight. That's the energy. People want to fight and they just might. People want to fight and they just might. So mind your awareness, okay? Mind your awareness. Be aware of your environments. Be aware of the way that people are wording things. Be aware of how your joy is being interpreted by others to help protect yourself. That's going to be part of Mars with Leo in that retrograde. And with the transition of Venus crossing over Pluto and Neptune going direct, these couple of days of December 5th and 6th, they could be the days where it's the energy, that aggressive energy of just like, I dare you to say something stupid. And then the other person, because they feel emboldened in their self, they feel strong in their self, they do say something stupid. And there could be this, it's like everybody stands up and everybody's up in arms and everybody in the place is like, what's going to happen next? Because now there's been this spark that's lit and people are angry and there's this aggression energy. There's probably a fight that's going to break out. If there is it going to be something that can be diluted? Is it going to be something that we got to push them outside? Are there going to be people involved that are not these two people? How are we going to solve this problem collectively together? Is there a way for that? And also protect individually while that's happening. So that's kind of the metaphor of this, or like a picture of this, because then also when Venus goes direct onto conjunct with Pluto, and then Neptune goes direct, there's very little room for error on that December 7th day. So we have this huge spark of aggression, this huge spark of emboldenedness, this huge spark of just say something stupid, I dare you, and then very, very little room for illusion the next day, very little room for like the consequences of that situation could be something that you're either right or you're wrong in that situation, and you may not find out until the 7th or the 8th. While at the same time, if you are not how do I explain that? Because I don't want to overdo it. If you're going to go through and fight and you want to protect yourself, sometimes people like to fight. Okay, so I'm not here to dog on you, but if you're going to go through and fight and you're going to protect yourself, if you're going to defend yourself, like just be really, really allocate your energy wisely, because December 7th, we have a really big, honestly, gift. Like Venus crossing over Pluto, it's a gift showing up. And if you get sucker punch knocked out in the fight, how are they going to deliver the gift to you? You're not at home. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. So mind your awareness. Mind your awareness. Don't get caught up in anything you don't need to be caught up in. Don't get into verbal arguments if you don't need to be in any verbal arguments. If there's a way to avoid it, play your cards wisely. And if you can, if there's a situation that comes up, diffuse it. Diffuse it. Don't use it. Diffuse it. Diffuse it. Diffuse it. Because when Neptune turns around, reality is going to smack that situation in the face. It's like the mother coming through. I don't know if Neptune would be considered a mother or not, but I don't think so. But it's kind of motherly energy, parent energy coming through to correct that aggressive situation. And if you're able to diffuse the situation, you may get like an accolade, not just a gift from the Venus and Pluto crossing each other and being conjunct, but there may be like an accolade, a responsive spiritual happening saying, you did good, kid, good job. You did a great job at handling that situation. But if not, there could be some really like harsh realities and a possible missed opportunity. It might not be missed, it might just arrive kind of late, or you might not be at the right place or at the right gate. It's kind of like if you were to book a flight and you arrive there right on time, you arrive when you're supposed to be there, but the gate that you need to be at is all the way across the airport. They changed it last minute and you weren't paying attention. That's kind of the Venus and Pluto crossover at the beginning of Aquarius. So there could be a really big gift that shows up, something that you want. But you got to be mindful. Don't let the distractions of the 5th and the 6th throw you off. Process your emotions as needed and diffuse the situations if they come up. Don't get caught up in that. Don't get caught up in it. And hopefully you have some healthy outlets for that aggression if it shows up for you, because I know sometimes I need it too. Sometimes I need it too, you know? Sometimes I need it too. That's true. So that's it. That's the week. I'll leave that with you. Gratitude, reverence, and love to you. Keep doing what you need to do. Keep up your brew. I'm tired too. Rest when you need to, okay? Especially on this balsamic moon at the beginning of the week. It's a time for rest. This is our natural period of rest, the balsamic moon. It's our natural period of rest. It's our natural period of, I'm going to sit here and just be, and I'm going to think, and I'm going to reallocate, and I'm going to ground. I love the balsamic moon. It's one of my favorites because I am someone who is like go, go, go all the time. So the balsamic moon, I get to come back to the ground. I get to come back to earth and sit and be. I love it. So yes. Thanks for being here with me. That's true. Gratitude, reverence, and love to the spirits that are true and truth, love, and free. Thank you for being with me. Gratitude, reverence, and love to the indigenous spirits of this earth and this land where I sit, talk, walk, and stand, and where you are receiving this information. Gratitude, reverence, and love to you, the indigenous spirits. That is true. Gratitude, reverence, and love to the spirits that are of love, truth, and free, to the Great Mother and the Great Father. And gratitude, reverence, and love to you. Thank you for the work that you do. You know, that's one of the things that I've been reminded of recently. I've been reminded of just kind of like as I've opened my sessions back up, interacting with more practitioners again. It's like the work of the spirit is so much work. It's so much work, and it's so much work that people don't normally see. Not everybody can see the work that's done in the spirit. It takes someone who also works in the spirit to see the work that's being done in the spirit and by the spirit. In the energy work. There's a lot of different names that you could use to explain that or put on it, I suppose. I just want to say thanks. Thanks for your work, because it takes more than one of us. It takes more than one of us, and we all kind of have to carry it together. So thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for carrying what you do, because what you carry is a responsibility, and it's also an honor to be able to carry that. So I revere that honor, and I give gratitude, reverence, and love to the honors that you carry in your life. That is true. And that's it. Keep up your brew and everything that you need to do. And I'll talk to you again in the podcast when the week is through. That's true.